So everybody's probably heard of some conspiracy theory like flat earth theory, fake moon landings, or maybe dead internet theory, where bots are believed to generate a majority of the content on the internet. This video isn't about those theories. Instead, this video will consist of minor coincidences that can be perceived as a conspiracy theory if you squint hard enough. Just to be absolutely clear, because I'm bad at sarcasm, I don't actually believe in the things I made up for this video. I just made them up. Have you ever noticed that when cartoons or other such animations portray a shower scene, characters often have overly bubbly soap? Now you can chalk this up to animators hiding inappropriate body regions or skimping out on the animation budget, but coincidentally, characters also usually apply soap while under running water. And as you know, running water washes away things, like soap, meaning you use up more soap than you would if you were to apply soap outside of running water. And if you remember, overly bubbly shampoo and body soap also require more soap than the amount required to adequately wash your body. So it seems animators want to subliminally hint that we should use more product while bathing. But why? Well, if consumers subconsciously use more product, they'll need to buy more product. So what if companies like Procter & Gamble are paying off animators to get people to use up more product, so they can sell more product? Now you might be thinking, aren't you technically an animator? And while I do draw ugly cartoons for these videos, I'm technically not an animator because there's nothing really moving and I suck at drawing. Never mind, Procter & Gamble is totally a legitimate company and has nothing to do with this conspiracy. Clothes are just a ploy concocted by people that hate water to get us to waste water. Now it's kind of hard to pinpoint the origin of this hate, but since humans have been wearing clothes for basically all of recorded history, we can assume some cave dude or something saw somebody drown in water and swore vengeance or something. Okay, but what does wearing clothes have to do with water? Well, clothes essentially act as insulators, meaning they trap our body heat. When we get hot, we sweat more. And conservation of mass tells us that the change in our body's water mass is equal to water in minus water out. So unless you want to sweat into non-existence, you'd need to drink more water whenever you sweat more. Now this might not sound like much, but even if wearing clothes only contributes to a 1% increase in our sweat rate, globally, with a population of around 8 billion, that would result in tens of millions of liters of additional water consumption per day. Now this is further supported by the fact that when people get cold during winter, they wear more clothes to stay warm. This means the body doesn't need to work as hard to maintain a reasonable body temperature compared to a naked one, meaning we as a population burn less calories and become fatter. Meaning when the year loops back around to summertime, we'll be sweating even more due to the increase of our body heat generation and our natural body heat insulation. Of course, this could all be one big giant coincidence, but remember that humans basically grow hair non-stop. That's because before clothes were invented, the body needed some way to survive winter. But since clothes were invented, people have been cutting away their excess hair non-stop. And what do most people do after getting a haircut? Rinse out their hair to rid themselves of annoying loose hair remnants. With water. Italian grandmothers are scheming to dominate the salt industry. Ask anybody for their authentic pasta dish and they'll tell you to boil a pot full of water to cook like 3 strands of pasta or something. They claim this is so the pasta doesn't stick or whatever, but that's just an elaborately chosen lie to get people off their backs. Because they also tell us that pasta water should be as salty as the sea or something. Or in other words, it should require tons of salt. But the saltiness of water doesn't depend on how much salt you put into the water, it depends on the salt to water ratio. And if you tell people to use a pot full of water, you'll need more salt than if you were to use the bare minimum amount of water. So what does this have to do with the salt industry? Well, note that Italy has the 14th largest, we'll ignore these numbers because they don't fit our theory, coastline. Meaning they have ample access to seawater and therefore sea salt. And compared to larger countries like Russia and the United States, Italy has an impressive ratio of coastline to country area, meaning they have the capacity to produce more sea salt per capita, making sea salt benefit Italy proportionally more. Now there are other countries that fit into this category, namely countries like Norway, Denmark, and Japan, but Italy is superior for 2 reasons. 1, These countries get a lot of their coastline from a bunch of tiny islands that aren't really great for living on, which makes it hard to harvest sea salt on the basis of nobody wants to live there. 2. Italy happens to be right next to the Mediterranean Sea, which, according to this salinity map I pulled off of Reddit, is basically 10% saltier than every other coastline, meaning it's more efficient to produce sea salt from Italian seawater, meaning they can sustain better profit margins and undercut everyone else. Now there's the obvious fact that Italy doesn't produce anywhere near the most sea salt in the world, even when counting per capita. But it's like the stock market, buy high and sell low. Oh wait. Why would they produce salt now and keep the price low when they can trick the world into wasting salt in pasta dishes and strike when the world's salt demand reaches an all-time high? Breaking character for a little bit, if you're curious, I think Italy doesn't produce a lot of salt because it takes a lot of land to leave salt water out to evaporate. Land which the United States and China have ample amounts of. I mean, I don't believe in facts because they're stupid or something.